Welcome to Salon Talks. I am Mary Elizabeth Williams, and this could only be Patricia Field. She is a stylist, a designer, an entrepreneur, and as I learned in her new book, an artist. You know her iconic Oscar and Emmy nominated looks from, of course, Sex and the City, Younger, Emily in Paris, The Devil Wears Prada. She now has a colorful new memoir out, and it's called Pat in the City, My Life of Fashion, Style, and Breaking all the rules. Hi, Pat. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here talking with you.
Long before Sex and the City came along in your life, we were talking before this, your downtown locations were landmarks. And there's a line in the book that really kind of moved me. No matter how hip hop, rock and roll, or anything else we got, Patricia Field would never lose its drag history. I love that. Talk to me about your relationship with that scene and how it became so much a part of your work, your style, the iconic looks that you've created.
Well, to start off with, as far as my shop on 8th Street was concerned, and the kids that work there, I hired people who looked like they could put themselves together. That's what I was impressed with, because if they could put themselves together, presumably they could put a client together. They knew fashion. That's what was important to me. Not a college degree, not whatever. It was just the look and the ability to communicate, of course. I had no idea or thoughts that, oh, I'm part of a scene or something like that. These, Jean-Michel, they would come in. Even in that time, I mean, Madonna, I believe, was working at Danceteria. It was back then before whoever got famous, whoever got, major. They were just, simply the kids that came into the store, and I don't know, it was fun actually looking back on all of this and having someone like yourself making me even more, let's say, conscious or aware of, that it was a scene. Because when I was living through it, in my mind, I swear to you, I never thought it was a scene. I never had that mentality. It was my store. It was my clothing store. It was my life. I lived down there. I worked down there. It was all, simply what I do.
One of the things I also really appreciate about you and your career and your trajectory, having watched you for decades, Pat, is that you are someone who has been reinventing and doing new things again and again and again. You moved into film and television work in your 50s. You got Sex and the City when you were in your 50s. That was obviously a transformational career move for you, and put you in a different level. I loved what you talked about in this book about the tutu that's not really even a tutu. Tell me what that garment, that outfit represents and what it says even now, almost 30 years later.
Even more so now. These tulle skirts are everywhere, and I'm happy to see them because it's a great replacement for sweatpants. It's my little, dig on the way fashion was, recently, kind of, I call it depression wear. You know what I mean? It's like, but the girls are starting to, I'm seeing it around where, because I even found that in Paris. I was in Paris getting ready to do Emily, I think it was. And I was talking to Darren Star on the phone, and I said to him, okay, I'm going to go out now and check out the Paris Chic. And I went out there outside of our studio. Well, the girls are in sweatpants and sneakers and jeans. I'm like, oh my God, it's worldwide. I mean, I like it a little bit more dramatic and with some imagination.
you talk in the book about history and about seeing style in context for meeting the moment where we are as a people. Is fashion over? Is this it? Is it just sweatpants now for everybody because we haven't left our houses?
All right, now we're going to get into my philosophy
Yeah.
about fashion. Fashion is art, as much of art. What art and what paintings and fashion have in common, in my mind, is that it tells the story of the time. And it's either a happy time or it's an unhappy, depressing time. And you see it in the way people dress. And I can happily say I'm starting to see they're coming out of this past couple of years of it's like a mentality. It's how you feel. You're depressed. To me, like as I mentioned, I think I mentioned in the book about the Roaring '20s. You know, it was after the World War I, I guess it was, and you know, all of a sudden the skirts went high. It was, you know, the Roaring '20s, and I think it was reflected again in the '60s. The positivity of expression through fashion. Me, I love to express myself through fashion. See, today I'm wearing a pair of my Versace pants that I bought years ago, and I was just outside having a smoke, and the young girl came past me and said, "Love your pants." You know, I'm glad that people are recognizing special things again and not just putting on a hoodie and a sweatpant and sneakers. I don't look at things by a price. It's expensive or it's cheap. It's like you see it, you like it, it'll find a good place in your closet. You'll wear it. And I don't know, I think that's basically what motivates me. But I just feel that people, I like happy. And people, you know what I mean? I would like to see people get happy, and it's starting now.
That's why you gotta get a pop of color. You know, you talk about how you enjoy dressing people and you enjoy seeing people happy, but it was interesting to me reading the book when you talk about dressing the women on Sex and the City, the person that you had the most difficulty and the most challenge dressing, John Corbett. What is it about dressing men that makes it harder for you?
You know what? It's not men in general, but what makes it sometimes harder to dress men is because men are, in my opinion, in a box. This is what they can wear. It's a polo shirt or it's a shirt and tie, but it's about, you know, a choice of four things that are, it's almost like uniform. And I feel badly for the men because I like to see the men like swing out a little bit. And I don't know if I don't remember if I mentioned it in the book. There was an actor who was on Sex in the City. What was his name? He was
Blair Underwood.
Blair Underwood. And he was
Cynthia Nixon.
yeah, Cynthia Nixon's beau. And I wanted to give him a pink shirt. And because he's a good looking guy. And he was like, "No, I don't wear pink." But I was liberated a few years later when I ran into him, I think at a party or something. And he told me that he has a pink suit.
You freedom.
So I was so happy to hear that because he was like a little simple pink shirt. What's a pink shirt? It's like nothing to me. It's a pink shirt, but a pink suit. Wow. It was very rewarding to hear that from him.
Pat, in our family, we call it the cage of masculinity. Like, why not wear a pink shirt? It's fine. It's
Oh,
gonna
that's a great expression. I'm going to use it. The
be the
cage. I
cage
should
of
have put it in my
masculinity.
book.
When you think back on the looks that you've created and you think back on the iconic outfits that people still talk about and still emulate, is there one or two that you're really the proudest of, that you feel like everything came together with the person, with the outfit, with the styling?
Nothing in particular. I did love working with Sarah Jessica because she got it. I didn't have to do any explaining to her. She's very fashion. And so that was really very encouraging for me. She understood it. We had worked previously on a film in Miami, and that's where we met. And then history repeated itself with Sex and the City. And she brought me to Darren Star, actually, because she was fashion. You didn't have to explain it to her. It was really fun to work with her on that level. She was secure in her fashion. And she had a beautiful body because she was ballet trained. And even she's a tiny little one, but she wore those clothes and those shoes and whatever. It was inspiring for me.
I want to ask you one last thing, because for me, the biggest revelation of the book is you say that you are the inventor of leggings. Every person that I know, certainly every woman I know, we may not have a tutu in our closets, we may not have Dior, but we all got leggings. We all love our leggings. Pat, what is it about the legging that makes it so universal, so timeless, so perfect? And how did you know?
Well, I got, as I said, my inspiration from this movie. What was it? Grease, yeah. At the end, because Olivia Newton-John was like this goody girl, and all of a sudden she comes on with this like tight black pants. And in those days, it wasn't really the style. It kind of veered back to more like, I don't know, the 50s maybe. But when I saw that last scene in those tight pants, who was she with? John Travolta, right? I'm like, I love that silhouette. And but I wanted to present it in my shop as just something affordable. So at that time, they had just started with this stretch fabric that stretches every way, but it has, some body to it, but it stretches always. And I found this fabric, and I went to the lingerie company on 29th Street. And I said, I just want you to make this, with this fabric, just make a pull-on pant that's tight. So I could put it out there at a price that, people could afford. And because that was always very important to me. I never I'm just not comfortable with overcharging. I like to get the most out of my buck, and that's what I do put out there, because that's how I feel. But it was that silhouette that got me, and I took it a step further because this new fabric that was strong but stretched every way, pull-on pants, leggings.
And the rest is history, right? Pat, thank you so much for talking to me.
As long as I'm not history and I'm still,
you're still kicking.
You're still out my mind.
You're still doing a million things. You're busier than most of us. The book is called Pat in the City, My Life of Fashion, Style, and Breaking All the Rules. I love that you got your cigarette in there too. I love it. Pat, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been an absolute pleasure just reminiscing with you. Thank you for everything. It's a joy to talk.
Thank you for coming into my shop.
Absolutely. Anytime. I wish it was still there. I'd still be shopping there. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Pat.